Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jared, and we're getting back to making videos regularly and everything. I still have a few things I need to do, but and get taken care of before I really get back in the swing of things. But I still wanted to get this out on time, unlike last week. So this is the weekly reading, and I actually forgot a last card. I actually went over on the last recording, so I'm not going to do that this time. So I'm going to just go ahead and get through it. I'm going to read a couple definitions for some of the cards that I think really enhance the reading. And so I'll try to keep it as short and sweet as I can. I know I have a tendency to ramble on. First up, we have the Six of Cups. Now, typically this card is looked at as one of romance, one of a budding romance, that sort of thing. But it's also a card of nostalgia. Perhaps looking back and ruminating too much. And that's interesting because up next we have the King of Pentacles. Now, the King of Pentacles here, seems to have a bit of a sullen look on his face, perhaps doing some of that ruminating. But I also see this as perhaps someone looking at money a little bit differently. Maybe they looked at it like a little kid looks at it, because we had that, sort of childlike energy within this card. Maybe when you were a kid, you'd get a little bit of spending money doing a job or something like that, some chores, and it would burn a hole in your pocket. You just had to spend the money. And even as an adult, maybe you might have been like that, and now you're kind of coming to the realization that, okay, maybe I do want, we'll just use the example of a luxury item like a jet ski. But have you done research on the jet ski? What kind of jet ski do you actually want? Which one is more practical for you to have? Or are you just going to go buy a jet ski because you want a jet ski? You see what I mean? It's sort of like, what works for your lifestyle? Would it even work for your lifestyle? Or are you just set on getting this item, whatever it might be? And I just use that as an example. So I see the King of Pentacles here as someone that is coming to terms with how to manage money. But it could also be that you are simply being more grounded in how you look at things in the past, being that the Pentacles energy is one of Earth. So let's go with one of those two threads, whichever works for you. Up next, we have the Three of Cups. And this is a card of celebration. So whatever the success is, I'm guessing that at some point you have decided to let go of whatever that was holding you back. So that's good. And this is where the reading gets really awesome. We have the Emperor. And whatever that letting go is, maybe of just old ways of looking at money, old ways of looking at things in general, whatever is going on, it seems like wherever you are, you're getting to that Emperor status by completing that King of Pentacles lesson, whatever that lesson might be. Whether that's letting go of the nostalgia or just looking at money in a different way, more as an adult, less of a kid, with money burning a hole in your pocket. So that's where you get that Emperor status from. All four kings rolled into one right here. Now up next we have the Sun. And the Sun here, I don't know if I can show, I'm not really showing anything, but I'm still going to do that anyway. We have the Sun, because whatever this decision is for you to let go of is going to allow you to radiate like the sun. And most importantly, this is also a happy card. So if letting this go, you may not think it might make you happy, but in the end you might realize that it makes you happy. And if it's something like let's say maybe we're looking at this as like a group project, we're managing money for like a group project a little bit better, whatever comes about is going to really, really radiate from it. And it may not seem that way at first. And then the final card here, we have the World. Now, the way that I look at this card is that whatever cycle and whatever you're letting go is going to complete. And that's awesome. It might even complete so quickly it blows your clothes off, like this lady on the card here. But be prepared to get caught up in that whirlwind in a good way. So yeah, you've completed a cycle. But here's where reading gets interesting, because I pulled some Moonology cards. I keep calling them Moonology cards. Moonology cards. Get it right, Jared. First up, we have the South Node, and this one was really interesting. I was going to read the whole definition, but for the sake of time, I just want to go ahead and touch on this. Basically, the South Node is the karmic astrological point that reminds us of the well-known phrase, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So we have the king, and he's ruminating about things. Keep doing the same thing the same way, or we're going to do something different this time. So, South Node, don't let your past hold you back. And that is above the Six of Cups and King of Pentacles, between them. And continuing on, above the King of Pentacles and the Three of Cups, we have a win-win outcome as forecast, a full moon in Libra. And the way that I see this is we're balancing out the scales of whatever the king is thinking about. So whatever kingly decision you have to make in that King of Pentacles energy, you're going to be balancing that out. Above the Three of Cups and the Emperor, we have this card here. It is the full moon in Pisces, balance, spirituality, and practicality. And that's where you have to balance that money and perhaps you're letting go of those ruminating thoughts, those old ways of seeing things, doing things, believing in things, whatever that might be. Balancing those out can really, 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 really help, especially if you're moving forward into that Sun and Emperor and world energy. So above the Emperor and the Sun, between them, we have waxing moon. Oops, almost lost something there. The energy is gaining momentum. So whatever we're working towards is gaining momentum at that point as we transition into that Sun energy. Now above the Sun and the world, between them both, we have the new moon in Leo. Confidence is key to success, which is interesting because a lot of Sun energy towards the end. And I'll show you in one of the other cards here. And I did want to read the definition or the teachings for this. The additional meanings. This is what I wanted to read. So, considering we're above the Sun and the World card, I think these meanings take on some additional depth. It's time for you to show the world what you've got. Shine your light, because you're the Sun, right? And you got the world there. Have some pride. Spoil yourself. You've earned it. That might be for someone in particular. And you've turned someone's head. Again, for someone probably in particular. So, yeah. I'll go ahead and read the teaching here. Leo is the sign of the big, brave-hearted lion, of pride and showmanship and flirting. The energy around the new moon in Leo, and therefore around this card whenever you pick it, is hot and generous. The energy loves itself, and so should you. If you've been too much of a wildflower, this new moon card and the new moon in Leo comes as a reminder that you need to be proud of who you are. And shine. You drew the Sun card, and that's awesome. And the World card right after it. You really can't get better than that. All right, up next we have practicality. This is from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, and this is below and in front of the Six of Cups. So whatever you might have thought was practical before may no longer serve a purpose. This card has a different meaning, but that's how I saw it. So what once was a practical way of looking at things, rather, may not be anymore. Below the Six of Cups and between the King of Pentacles, we have independence. And in order to gain independence, we have to be practical, and be practical about the things that we think about. And I wanted to read the definition of that card real quick, if I could. Okay, here we go. Independence. Often when this card occurs in a reading, it shows that the person asking the question is trapped in a mental whirlwind. It indicates a need to let go of emotions and allow feelings to express themselves without rationalizing them. It also suggests that the questioner's home will be used in a future group meeting. But that's what I wanted to drive home, was that it will, it represents a bit of a mental whirlwind, which it seems like the King of Pentacles is in. So, very interesting. Below the King of Pentacles and between him and the Three of Cups, we have acquisition. And I look at this as acquiring what you need to get that Emperor status. And it might just simply be knowledge. It might be perhaps a partner, as the card suggests. But it might also be acquiring the trust within a group. As the Three of Cups suggests that there is a group there. Okay, so below the Three of Cups and the Emperor, we have organization. And organization must take place in order for you to move forward. You must organize everything and get it ready to go. Otherwise, you're just going to have a mess on your hands, and we can't move forward and be the sun and radiate. So we've got to organize. And let me see here if I can. Yeah, the definition for this card. When this card is drawn, it indicates that hard, conscientious work is required in order to achieve long-term aims or solve an immediate problem. So, got to organize those thoughts, you know, before we become the Emperor. Now, below the Emperor and between him and the Sun, we have excitement, because becoming the Emperor can be quite exciting. I mean, you're all, you know, all four kings, all the qualities of all four kings rolled into one. That just felt weird. So yeah, that's excitement. And the definition of that card is, let's see here. I have them all marked here with these little markers. Excitement. When this card appears in a reading, it usually indicates that the questioner will benefit from a period of busy, communicative socializing with plenty of short trips related to the question. Negatively, the card can denote constant changing of the mind, jumping from one decision to the next with equal excitement and enthusiasm that annoys others. So, basically, when you're the Emperor, you can't be indecisive. So, you might be excited about being the Emperor, transitioning into that sun energy, but be decisive about it. Don't, you know, use that excitement in a good way. Below the Sun and between the Sun and the World, we have impulsiveness. Now, this is also below the New Moon and Leo card. Confidence is key to your success. Now, impulsiveness can oftentimes be a very bad trait. However, if you're the Emperor and you have to make decisive decisions and you're radiating like the sun and you're completing cycles, that impulsiveness might be seen as more decisive than impulsive. And if you're using it with intuition well, it can really serve you well. So, and as the card indicates, there might be a little bit of some Aries energy, and with that luck, you might just move forward. So impulsiveness can be good at times, but it can also be bad at times. But the way that I see it, in the grand scheme of things, putting yourself out there, radiating like the sun, sometimes you have to make those impulsive decisions quick and with an intuitive bent behind them. So keep that in mind. And impulsiveness can serve you well at times. Now, in capping the whole thing, and below the World there at the very end, we have health. And the way that I see this is, I see this as someone regaining their health. I can't show this because it seems to be two young ladies that are probably very hot there in Egypt and not wearing much. That being said, that what I see this as is, I see this as like a woman going to the spa. She's getting her hair done, she's getting her lips done, and just overall treating herself very well. Self-care, basically, you know, that sort of self-care that people talk about is, you know, treating yourself, basically. But I see that being gained because a lot of the things that were being shed initially are going to allow for that to happen, whether that's allowing you to have more time in the gym, maybe even having money now because you're managing your money better to go to the gym. Maybe, or something like that, you know, some sort of exercise. Maybe you've decided to set more time aside because you're managing your time better, because your time economy, almost like money, is very important. And maybe you found time to do that. Maybe you found time to cook or eat better. Various other things that can pertain to your health, including mental health. Letting go of those old ways of doing things, those old cycles, can all benefit your health. Stress of the mind, once that's relieved, you can look at other things in an entirely different way. I know that for a fact. I've been through a very stressful week this past week. So yes, through all of it, you will also be gaining your health. That's awesome. I'm so happy for this reading. I'm going to go ahead and claim this because, yeah, I think it's awesome, and I think it's an awesome reading for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll get back to making Reiki videos soon. It's just really hot. My room gets really hot. I get hot when I channel Reiki, so once I get my AC unit in here fixed, we'll get back to doing that. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this useful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.